Good morning and welcome to One Baha'i, that regular show where I just sit back and share a few personal thoughts about the Baha'i faith. It's nothing official, it's just me, one individual, one Baha'i. O thou whose face is the object of the adoration of all that yearn after thee, whose presence is the hope of such as are wholly devoted to thy will, whose nearness is the desire of all that have drawn nigh unto thy court, whose countenance is the companion of those who have recognized thy truth, whose name is the mover of the souls that long to behold thy face, whose voice is the true life of thy lovers, the words of whose mouth are as the waters of life unto all who are in heaven and on earth. You remember that you may remember, I can't even talk this morning. You may remember that last time I looked at the first part of each of these phrases, I pointed out that they're all like, the one is the this of that, the one is the two of the three. Today, I want to look at the second part of them. The object of adoration, hope, desire, companion, mover, true life, and the waters of life. It's a nice list, but what does it mean? What can we find in it? And please remember, it's nothing official, it's just me. So, it seems to me that we're all at the beginning with some sense of adoration. I mean, if we don't adore God in some manner, we wouldn't even get this far. When we adore something, we honor it. We love it. We possibly even worship it. Now, it's interesting to me to note that any of these can actually be separate from each other, and yet the word adore, adoration, still implies all of them. It comes from the Latin root meaning to pray or to speak formally to. And so here, at the very beginning, with a formal prayer of love, our first step, it's like an introduction. But what is it that we adore? In this prayer, we adore His face. So we take that first step of adoration, and obviously we would hope to attain that which we adore. I guess it would be like going to a king to ask for a bounty or a gift. I mean, of course you hope you will be granted it. And in this case, seeing His face, I guess, is what we hope to attain. Like being in His presence. To me, I don't know, just to me, it's a reminder that my prayers, they have to be conscious. I need to take the time to know myself, to know my true desires, and not just those passing surface desires like my current desire for a cup of coffee or a piece of chocolate. No, I have to know myself far deeper than that. My deepest desire, my greatest hope. Now, it really is to be in the presence of the divine. That really is the subject of all my prayers. And I guess it's a hope, because I really do believe that it can be attained. I mean, never fully, of course, but more and more with every passing moment. I guess it's like being in the presence of the sun. If I'm inside, I can step outside. If it's cloudy, I can wait for the clouds to dissipate. I can step into that ray of sunshine and be in the sun, but I'm never really actually at the sun itself. Anyways, after realizing that this nearness is really what I want, and that it is attainable to a degree, I guess my longing grows the nearer that I get to it. Maybe it's like gravity. The nearer you are, the stronger the force. as you get closer, this simple longing becomes a deep desire, which is more intense than a feeling of just hope. I guess it's like an intense craving, and we spend more and more time trying to fulfill it. I guess it's a good addiction. And we begin to see that we are closer to God when we are in a state of prayer. And the 5 minutes or so that may have satisfied earlier in our development no longer even comes close. How often have we heard of those spiritual giants who immersed themselves in the ocean of prayer for hours on end? How often have we heard of the desire of those great souls to make their every breath a prayer? And don't forget that prayer leads to action. So you're not just a hermit praying just for your own self, but you're actually acting upon the prayer that you are praying. That is the intensity, I believe, to which we aspire. Now, when our feelings are that strong, I guess that's when we become the companion of the loved ones of God. In other words, we find ourselves in their company on a regular basis. Now, it's not necessarily that we are one of that esteemed company, but I think it's that we're in their company. Like a moth circling around the flame. The moth isn't necessarily the same as the flame, unless it gets close enough, I guess. But, boy, the images are kind of fun this morning. But here, I guess it seems that when the desire is that strong, that's when we discover the truth of that hidden word. Whither can the lover go but to the land of his beloved? When we are a companion of the true one, he moves us in our life, both inwardly and outwardly. Our very actions, it seems, are defined by the responses given to us from the writings. We no longer move by our own animal desires, but by a higher understanding of our purpose in life. And strange as that may seem, it also becomes an inspiration for those around us. I've met so many people in my life who first became interested in their spiritual path because there was one person who was trying to follow it. And from there, their attention was directed to the messenger himself. Now, for me as a Baha'i, I think it's my challenge and my blessing to be able to direct people towards the Master. When we see how Abdu'l-Baha responded in different situations, we can better try to emulate that in our own life. And then we should remember that Abdu'l-Baha himself always tries to redirect our attention to Baha'u'llah. And you know, when we allow ourselves to be so moved, that is when we attain true life. I believe it is at that time that we have made great strides in overcoming the physical bonds that restrain our growth and truly begin to understand that true life is the life of the Spirit. It is this true life that really is the hope for the world. It's a living demonstration of the water of life for everyone. I think it's when we truly realize that it is the words of his mouth that are as the waters of life unto all who are in heaven on earth, that we will really begin to make a difference in the world around us. This is just my own simple understanding of this. A little bit of what is here. The trick now for me, and I guess for all of us, is how do we apply it? What do we do about it? You know, Baha'u'llah in the Kitab-i Khan was talking to the uncle of the Bab. And part one always seemed to me to be leading him to a recognition not only of Muhammad, really it's about Muhammad, that first part, but about the Bab himself. And he says, at the end of that part, he seems to say to me, you believe. You are now a believer. And if it was me writing, I would have ended it right there, but it's not. It's Baha'u'llah. He goes one paragraph further at the end of part 1, and he says, now, what are you going to do about it? And that, to me, is the important question. What are we going to do about what we know? Now, I understand that I need to pray more. And I also realize that I need to try and penetrate deeper into the meaning of the prayers so that I can better fulfill them in my life. But yeah, I was going to share another story, but I think that's enough for right now. Some people have said, you just need to pray, you just need to read, the writings say it all. Well, yes, they do, but we need to understand them. And I think that is the great challenge for all of us today. How to understand what the writings say and how to put them in effect. Anyways, thank you for joining today. Really appreciate it. I'll try to look at part 3. Well, part 3. The third part of those phrases next time. Thank you for joining. We'll talk soon.